Good afternoon, folks. Well, afternoon U.S. Eastern Time. For those of you in Europe, it's well into the evening. Thank you for being here, all of you. This is the January 2026 Perl and Raku Community Roundtable. Our purpose here today is to have each person present share what's going on in their part of the Perl world so that others may take interest and join in. So as each of you comes up, please tell us what you're involved in. And if you're looking for more participants, please say so. Feel free to jump up and down and say, we need whatever it is. And how to get a hold of your part of the community, the community that you're involved in, especially if it is looking for new participants. All right, I appreciate you being here. And thanks for the it's been a busy holiday season for a lot of folks, myself included. Moved to a new home and lots of other things. Um, so what I have to bring for the good of the community is that the Perl and Raku Conference 26, the North American Conference, has been scheduled for the last weekend in June. The conference will be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday with a class on Monday. It is at the same venue as last year in Greenville, South Carolina. And they were good to us last year. The contract terms, they're good to us this year. Planning is underway for the 27 conference. You know, we're looking at a pretty good prospect, which farther ahead than we've been for a few years now. The call for papers for the 2026 conference should be out in the next week or so. I'm working on that this weekend. Hotel reservations, I'm expecting to hear back on Monday for the reservation link for that. And tickets will go on sale almost at once. Early bird pricing is 275 US dollars through the end of April, and it'll go up a little after that. But we're looking forward to another great conference. We're doing some new things. We're planning for a couple of sessions of more interactive, roundtable-y kinds of content, and we're looking for some folks to help lead those conversations. We're also working on our keynote. Don't have our keynote yet, but cross your fingers. I'm very excited about the person I'm talking to as my lead candidate for that. So that's what's going on in my part of the world. The board has passed the budget for 2026. It includes revitalizing the community grants program. It includes a bit of budget for the CPAN security community for the first time. We're very excited about that. There is also a new donor involved in an in-kind donation of technology services for the CPAN testers community, and that's very, very exciting. They have found new hosting through the OSU Open Source Labs, and that's proceeding very well from what I hear. I try to keep up with them. I follow along on their chat just to see what's going on with them. But there's a lot of migration and upgrades going on over there. That's all I have. Does anyone have a question for me about board or conference or CPAN testers?
Very
No?
general question that
Yes.
is probably answered by a quick visit to your event website, to be perfectly honest. When you mentioned you've got a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for the conference and then a class on Monday, do you actually have like workshopy classes that people take at the
Yes.
event?
Yeah, the Monday session is an all-day workshop. We usually plan one or two. We try to get two in different topics on that. Our hope is to get a couple. We want one for sure, and we've got the space for two if we need it. We can add that space. Um, we don't have our topic yet. The last couple of years, Chris Prather has done a really great session on gaming in Perl and creating roguelike games in Perl, which has been very well received, a good class. We've had classes on a quick introduction to Dancer. We've had Divic's class workshop once a few years ago. We've even had a presentation that was an all-day class on Go for Perl programmers. So an introduction to Go for Perl, which was very well received. Dave Rolski used to do those pretty regularly. But that's we do plan for that, and that's on the Monday, the final day of the conference. For those who are not involved in that, they can fly home on Monday or whatever they need to do. Bruce.
2 points about that. First, to clarify, those classes on Monday would be paid classes, extra fee not included in the conference fee. Also, the current plan is separate from the class space to have hackathon space both on Monday and on the shoulder day of Thursday, probably Thursday lunchtime forward. Some years we've had organized activities in a hackathon, but there's always been hacking in those hackathon spaces every time we have them offered. So having it on Thursday and on Monday, if you're in town, you've got a place to work.
Yeah, and we have had organized events in that hack space where a group of people said, "Hey, I'm going to the conference and I'd like to work on this together. So let's gang up and do that." And that is absolutely welcome. And we'll put those on the wiki so that folks can know to join in if that's of interest to them.
Yeah.
So certainly that is also open to you. Okay, anything else about those matters? Okay, hearing nothing, then we'll move on. And Salva, I think you're up. You were the next one here.
All right. So let's see. I have again 2 hats on my head. The FOSDEM preparations I can report a little bit on. So FOSDEM is the huge open source conference in Brussels, Belgium. It will start in exactly 2 weeks, basically, with well, it starts even earlier than that with the events leading up to the last weekend of first weekend day of in the month change between January and February. It's usually the first weekend of February. This year we're kissing January also, and there will be a stand. We have organized the new Raku posters to be given away and sold there. There will be lots of new stickers for both Perl and Raku and MetaCPAN and Philip Bruhat's Underbar podcast and Modulicious. And probably maybe some more stickers. I have a few of my own I'm planning on giving away. And we have still some CPANSec stickers also to give away. We will be bringing some t-shirts for sale and some of the books from the old library of Liz and Wendy. Theo will be bringing those with books mostly about Raku related things with a correction for the name. The books still say Perl 6, but it says Raku compatible on the sticker there. We will also, since we don't have a track, we have applied for a Birds of a Feather session, and that will be Emmanuel and myself who will be running that. That's usually completely unstructured, and I've asked for an hour. We'll see how that goes, crossing fingers. If not, then maybe we'll do something else. There will be a dinner on Saturday evening. Sign up for that one, as far as I know, is either already up, and we'll probably be sharing that on the website of the Perl Foundation, I think, and other places soon. And of course, there will be, I guess there will be a possibility to sign up for the dinner also at FOSDEM. And if I remember correctly, we have set reserved space for 50 people. So at the same place where we've always been at Le Porteuse d'Or. And I think it'll be fun. There's a lot of activities going on. Personally, I'm going to be completely swamped. I'll arrive on Tuesday with a program going on and meetings starting on Tuesday afternoon for a full day, and leaving on Monday after a full day event on Monday. So I have like literally 6 or 7 days, 6 days with full program there. So FOSDEM is growing and becoming more awesome and more useful than ever. So for anybody who's out there who's interested in getting the pulse of what's going on and learning something new, this is like probably the best place to go in Europe at in the open source calendar year. On the CPAN security group side, things have been going on mostly in the background there. We are about to publish a yearly review document listing out all the stuff that we've been doing in 2025. And it's surprisingly much, actually. I was kind of surprised how much we managed to do in this year. Highlights were work on software bill of materials and package URLs. We have got a few extra volunteers last year to start contributing, which is awesome. We need still more people who care and are willing to make an effort here.
You said something materials and package. Sorry, I was trying to write down the two things and I missed them.
Yeah. No, it's software bill of materials.
Right.
So for those who don't know what it is, it's let's call it a report of what was installed after a build, or the results of a build, which should map out all the dependencies, where they come from, who's in charge of them, and anything related to them, so we can get a complete picture of what is actually in use of software on a system, so that we can quickly discover if a vulnerability, for example, that is published is relevant to us. So we have the metadata in place. And this is necessary because of regulation coming from in Europe, and already existing regulation in many sectors. And the package URL is a way to refer to open source software packages or artifacts in a way that is ecosystem sensitive, meaning that the way naming happens inside an ecosystem might differ from the same piece of software represented in another ecosystem. And how versions are represented might be differing, and this package URL specification, which by the way is now an ECMA standard, became that a month ago or something like that, not long ago. That package URL is used inside SBOMs, for example, to specify where a piece of a component comes from, for example. And in vulnerability, in CVEs and vulnerability reports, to refer to what specific package is vulnerable, and a bunch of other use cases. Beyond that, not sure if I can think of what else to say.
Were you talking about some volunteers before I interrupted you?
Yeah, we have some new volunteers, and we're still looking for new volunteers. We are planning also to not only be visible, we are also starting to plan presence at a bunch of events further down the line, and including the Perl Toolchain Summit, which will be in Vienna in end of April, if I remember correctly. And we have a bunch of other things going on, which is too early to go into, but the exciting news. Hopefully one day we'll see how it goes. Can't do anything more than a teaser, sadly, at this point. And other than that, if you listen to this or see us talk about this and are interested in security and CPAN and Perl, please reach out. We need anybody who cares and is willing to step up as things are today. That's what I can share.
All right. Thank you, Salva. Next up, that would be Alex. Hi, Alex. Tell us what's happening in the Great White North.
We got a bunch of snow here yesterday, so I don't know. It's about 6 or 8 inches, so it's a fair bit. But that's not Perl related. What I can tell you is that Olaf and I have been discussing getting some speakers for January and February. So on Wednesday, I sent Olaf a note about Jesse Vincent possibly speaking January 29th. And he has emailed Jesse and has not heard back from him. And I also got a note from Stephen Lembark offering to speak. So we might have him speak in February or March. That's about it. For those who aren't aware, we've gone from monthly meetings where we didn't have that many speakers, so it was just to get together to chat. We've gone from that down to quarterly meetings, March, June, September, and December. Anyway, roughly every 4 months, but then every once in a while something pops up like the Susie talk, and that was in I think the beginning of December on a Saturday because that's what worked out for the people at Susie. Anyway, when we do these talks, we get the TPRF to record them to Zoom, and then I download the video and put front and back on the video and upload it to the TPRF/YAPC channel on YouTube so that people can see it. And I haven't looked recently, but I did know, I think after about a week, we'd had, I don't know, 30 or 40 people look at the talk from Susie, which was, it was 3 different people presented 3 different topics, but they were related. So it was kind of 3 talks in one presentation. And that's all useful because it's all, continuing education on the Perl ecosystem. So I guess that's all I can report. Olaf and I are still, I'm the speaker wrangler, but Olaf is helping me out a lot by finding speakers as part of the work that he's doing for sponsorship.
All righty. Thank you, Alex. Next up will be Emmanuel. How are things over in France?
Well, things have been. It's been snowing. It snowed last week, so we had the same problems that Alex is having today. Back in December, we had open source experience, which was a big FLOSS event in Paris. Laurent Boivin and I took the opportunity to go ask companies that heavily use Perl if they would want to contribute to the Perl Foundation or to our NPO. A number of them said yes, and I have yet to follow up with them. So basically, this is Linagora and Vortex, 2 companies that fund that work on LaminelDub-NJ, which is a web SSO on MetaCPAN. And because they heavily use Perl, they're interested in contributing to the Perl Foundation, means permitting. So I have to put them in contact with Olaf or Stuart or ideally you, or maybe you. And that's on my to-do list to do before the end of the month. And in February, we will have our NPO general meeting. And I have to prepare a recap of everything we did in 2025 and present it to the the members of the NPO, and this is taking up the bulk of the time I have to promote Perl these days. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
That plus, I'm aware that the Mongueurs are being the fiscal agent in the front end for the upcoming Toolchain Summit,
PTS, yeah, that's part of the job.
which is coming up at the end of April. I did get an invite this year, but I am depressed to discover that I will not be able to go. I'm a little crabby about that because I'd really love to. I really got a lot out of it last year. All right, Bruce Gray.
Well, I've been much out of pocket due to vacation and holidays. I'm getting caught up on the Advent calendars that Perl and Raku communities both have put out. There's some fascinating stuff there, but I want to highlight one particular thing, and I'm putting it in chat here. For the 25th in the Raku Advent, Liz wrote up an end-of-year summary. And I was very interested to hear Salve and Emmanuel both say that they were working on them. I know that can feel burdensome, especially when it's like something you have to do for a regulatory or procedural requirement. But I encourage everybody to read what Liz has written because I'm viewing it as a promotional possibility. I read it and, you know, I'm in the community and I still go, wow, this is what this community has achieved in a year. It's impressive. As an insider, to an outsider reading it, I think it would be even more impressive. I'm not seeing it in the Perl community, and that seems like something that would be beneficial for projects like Dancer and Mojo and other projects that have continuity of work throughout the year. Perhaps it would also be advantageous. And for those who are doing it to meet some requirements, maybe reading this would allow you to put a spin on it, or at least a spiritual take on it that would be less burdensome and more a little more fun. That's all I have.
All
Yeah, I
right,
think that's a
thank you,
really good
Bruce.
idea.
And Andrew, you're up.
Oh, crikey. Well, I came here mainly out of curiosity, leading up to trying to do the London Perl and Raku workshop, benefiting and incredibly grateful for sponsorship from the Perl Foundation and via Ruth, with a little bit of warm up from JJ earlier in the year, I think, where you two were discussing. And it was, you know, the invite was given out for me to pop by one of your roundtables, and I think I read some blog posts about how it was about communicating between all these separate islands. So it was great to hear about Ruth's opening statements on creating opportunities for collaboration and all of that stuff. So I've basically, yeah, I guess like Bruce, just kind of recovering from holiday season, and I haven't really got back into things. So I think one of the main things to do is to touch base with my fellow organizers from last year's event to see what's kind of going forwards for next year. So I think I had originally been, and one of the reasons I really wanted an event to happen in 2025, even though it was organized at short notice. So this was the London Perl workshop, or London Perl and Raku workshop, but I say Perl workshop because I used a londonpearlworkshop.com URL. So then I'm working on the logo and it says Raku clearly down, thinking, should I buy another domain name? Or start, you know, putting the R in the acronym as well. Sorry, my point is that my initial thought was I had to volunteer to make it happen that year because of if I just left it, it would be Julian and Lee doing it again in 2026. And my assumption has been that they're going to do it. And Lee has said to me, obviously, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but he said he's thinking about doing a Swiss workshop as well. So I don't know whether he's going to continue with the London one or not. That is the assumption at the moment. But from my point of view, and obviously I'm behind with things because of Christmas and New Year. So I need to touch base with everyone and see what the situation is. But my assumption is that stuff still needs doing, regardless of who's involved. So I never actually fully intended to do the event last year. I was just curious to learn how to do the event. And I thought, if I just keep going through all the steps required to make the event happen. And as I did that, the event obviously happened. But it meant that when I was doing sponsorship outreach, for instance, I didn't finish reaching out to all the sponsors I'd intended to. So it's been great to hear from some of you. What have we had? Was it Emmanuel talking about Vortex and some people you'd brought on? That were interested in contributing to the Pearl Foundation. And I think also Alex talking about he was using Olaf to reach out. Oh, that was for speakers, but it's still great that because Olaf initially gave me a few leads to some sponsors and there was an interested sponsor I never had the time to follow up with. So I'm kind of interested in just saying, if Lee's going to lead London Pearl Workshop 2026, I'll be happy to carry on now for the rest of January and February, trying to get conversations with potential sponsors going. And even for people like Ruth, I just went quiet after the event and was recuperating really. And I need to get back in touch with people and thank them for, how they pulled things out last minute to make everything happen last year. Because we also had I might have his name wrong off the top of my head. I think it was Andrew Beverley, but from Simple Lists, and he came in as a sponsor last minute and made the budget work. It was only a bronze sponsorship, but I had already anticipated one coming in from one of these sponsors I hadn't finished following up with, and so to have it come in from him made everything happen. And I don't think I probably touched base with him enough or gave enough gratitude. And then I also think, coming from a background in journalism, I used to get a trade magazine, and that trade magazine would have a panel that would be a kind of steering committee that they would consult to check with people in that trade that they were still, as a publication, doing the things that that industry actually wanted their publication to do. So I am really interested in maybe getting some kind of forum with sponsors to make sure that they're getting what they want out of the events and the sponsorship, and we're delivering measurable value, I guess. And then, of course, I was asking Ruth questions about the classes, and thanks, Bruce, for clarifying on how they operated in terms of some of them being separately paid for, but also a hackathon space emerging because of prior to Lee's comeback event, which is what got me so excited and wanting to continue the momentum, the London Pearl Workshop. I had never actually been to a Pearl workshop of any kind. So I kind of had all these hackathon ideas from the word workshop. And so kind of when we did it, it was a bunch of presentations. And that to me makes me think of Pearl Conference. But if we called it Pearl Conference, it would be the US event name. So I'm interested in exploring how the London Pearl Workshop could potentially be more workshop based. In terms of general stuff, I've got a draft circular I was going to send around to the organizers that I drafted last weekend, and I haven't finished it off. I was going to finish it off this week and then send it. I've been a bit busy, but maybe I can get that done by the weekend. Beyond that, I'm waffling on about stuff I shouldn't really report on until I've had a good old nosy and chat with the fellow organizers, and we've decided on what's going on and how it's all happening. But I guess to give you a brief rundown, it's I've got to do that communication with them. I want to express my gratitude to all the attendees and the sponsors, and I want to continue, regardless of what's happening and who's leading the organization of 2026's event. And perhaps I can learn from how you guys are organizing your conference as well. I want to actually just keep that ball rolling with regard to sponsorship because of we got 2 sponsors that covered the budget, and we had a great venue that gave us a great discount that enabled it to all happen. But I want to keep moving on that. Otherwise, it's going to be a short notice attempt to raise sponsorship again if we don't start doing these things early with plenty of notice for people.
Bruce, go ahead.
Thank you, Andrew. And directly referencing one of your points, in case we don't have a chance to speak before it's time for you to coordinate it again, you can achieve what I think you want with more workshop-esque involvement in your event just by providing a designated space. Just get an extra room. Doesn't have to be a full conference, presentation size room, just enough for, 12 people around a table, and announce that this is going to be running during the conference. You can use it instead of going to a presentation. You can coordinate and have a section of it that 3 people are working on something. The rest of it can be just people working and saying, oh, I'm hung on this. How do you do that? We've had a lot of great ad hoc collaboration. Things go faster in that room, especially if somebody's new to whatever technology it is that they're working on. There's somebody in the room that's familiar with it. We've had great success with that. But you don't have to do anything as an organizer. You don't even have to organize the organized part of a hackathon. All you have to do is provide the space and tell people, if you want it organized past show up, then you've just volunteered to organize that. So it's very, as a conference organizer, it's just about getting the room and letting people know what's allowed and what's expected. If you can have somebody who coordinates and keeps a record of what people worked on, whatever, that's just for promotional. I do that most years and then never do anything with the information because I'm terrible. But I just want to really encourage that if that's something you want to add to your event, that's a low energy mechanism. Might cost, because it's room, but it doesn't require a whole lot of the organizers. That's all.
I'm really grateful for that good wisdom.
Also, and I'll extend what Bruce was saying and extend an invitation to you to come to the TPRF planning channel on the Slack. That's the channel where we plan the North American Conference every year. We meet right now once a week. That'll probably slow down to every other week for a while. We meet on Wednesdays. It'll be kind of late in the day for you over there, but Abigail joins us, and he's not even planning to attend at the moment, but he still joins us and helps out. And it would be, I think, a valuable set of insights for helping you develop your event planning chops over there. So please do feel free to join us on that channel anytime.
Yeah, fantastic. Sounds like a good semi-work shadowing experience.
Yes, absolutely. Is there anything else anyone has to offer for the good of the community before we consider ourselves adjourned? Salva, your hand's up.
Yeah. So this is more of a, I don't know the English word for this, an admonition. Is that a word?
It's a word.
Yes, it's a word. So I've been working on policy and metadata related stuff now for a good while in the CPANSec sphere. And one of the things that I have realized through reading all the documents and the guidelines out there that people are using when they or writing when they talk about this sphere, they talk about the components and dependencies as third party. I would love to urge you guys to think a little bit about this. that when people in a business uses the software that we are carrying of, they treat this as something that they have no control over, a third party kind of source of code of a product. I have taken issue with that term in the last year, and when I am out speaking with people that care about this type of language and how to communicate needs, I've urged them to say, let's start using the term second party. If there is some kind of software, a component in the dependency graph that a business cares about, it cares about in the sense that they do want to know that this particular component does not have any security issues or bugs, and that somebody's taking care of it and responding to any issues that are found in a timely manner. And the thing is that those projects who have people who care about software, their software in this manner, they care about it in the same way as businesses who use that software. And that is not a third party type of relationship. That's a second party relationship. And putting this term into the minds of the users that we talk with, our managers, the people who are planning and budgeting to look at, like, should we spend money on community stuff? Yeah, sure, community stuff is nice and fuzzy, but it's actually something each business needs, because it's the community that actually takes care of the software that they are using. And by treating them as third-party suppliers, they're distancing themselves from the thing that they should not distance themselves from. And that's actually a super important nuance I would love more people to start adopting in their language when talking with management or clients or whatever. So this is my soapbox statement for this time, and I hope this resonates with some of you.
Thank you. Yeah. Ruth, you're muted. Ruth, you're still muted.
Okay, there we go. Technology, sheesh. Is there anything else anyone wants to add before we adjourn? Okay, seeing no hands up and nobody jumping up and down or waving, then we will consider ourselves adjourned. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate your presence. I appreciate what you do for your own parts of the Perl community. And we'll see you next month at the same time. Be well.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.